What would it be like if, beginning right now, you got to watch your whole life move on without you? You got to sit aside, watch your children grow, your family pass, children be born, family be christened, family be buried, high school graduations, first day at school, all the things that we enjoy as a people. You get to sit and watch that happen, and you have absolutely no involvement, none. I have been a cop, I've been a correctional officer, I've been a warden, I've been a military soldier, I ran Rikers Island, I ran the New York City Police Department, I was the interim Minister of Interior of Iraq for President Bush. 35 years, I worked in law enforcement. I was extremely decorated. I was very aggressive. I was highly accomplished. But I never knew what it was like to die with your eyes open until I went to prison. That's what it's like. You basically die with your eyes open, and you get to watch everything around you move on without you in it. The reason I'm here today, the reason I'm supporting Norm Reamer, the foundations, the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, is because for someone like me that was in the business I'm in, or I was in for 35 years, I had absolutely no idea of the collateral consequence of a conviction. I didn't know. I didn't care. I had a job to do. My job was to take bad guys off the streets. And I did it, and I did it well. I took bad guys off the streets. And I strongly believe, as I stand here today, that bad people that do bad things deserve to be held accountable, to be punished. But when I went to federal prison in 2010, I learned very quickly that there are thousands upon thousands of men and women in prison today that aren't bad people. They're good people that made mistakes. But they are being punished exactly like the bad. Exactly. Most importantly, it's one major punishment. A conviction. A felony conviction in this country today, regardless of what it's for. It could be for possession of marijuana. It could be for real estate fraud, wire fraud, bank fraud, or all those other frauds that the government has in the legal books. Or it could be for mass murder. That felony conviction becomes a life sentence. You are sentenced to a life of collateral damage. Norman stood up here and talked about some of that collateral consequence. There's about 40 or 50,000 different collateral consequences to that conviction across the country. Every state has different ones. The federal government has its own. But at the end of the day, if you're an 18-year-old young man that makes a mistake, a first-time, nonviolent low-level crime, never been in trouble before, and you're sentenced to a year and a day, and you conclude your sentence, and you finish your probation, and you try to go on with your life, it's not going to happen. You are a convicted felon for the rest of your natural life. And if that 18-year-old man lives to be 118, 70 to 80% of his life will be damaged, destroyed, and ruined for eternity because of that conviction. This is something that I didn't know, I didn't think about, I didn't understand. And if there's anything that comes out of this meeting today, if there's anything that comes out of what the governor talked about today, it's the education process to make Americans know, to make our Congress know, to educate them, to make them understand what I'm saying right now. Because I strongly believe, and I know a number of people in Congress, I know a number of people in the Senate, good people that believe in this country, that believe in the Constitution, that believe in human rights, civil rights. They believe in our Constitution. I strongly believe that if they witnessed what I did, and they saw the system from where I was, there would be outrage, there would be anger, and there would be change. The key to change is education. And I don't think there's a better education now than that report. Because the report not only talks about what those collateral consequences are, but it talks about what we can do to change a system that is destroying lives, destroying families, and crucifying our economy. I'm a Republican. I'm a super law and order guy. I'm a tough on crime guy. I know I came out of prison and people looked at me and said, have you lost your mind? Have you completely gone off to the left? No. This isn't a left or a right issue. This is an American issue. This is a family issue. And I can assure you, as someone that ran two of the biggest law enforcement organizations in this country, and someone that's been in the system and saw the system from the inside out, I believe there is no bigger problem in this country today than this. We've got to change the laws. You know, in this room alone, I see a number of leaders of the advocacy groups that do tremendous work in the field. But the answer is the laws. The answer is Congress. The answer is the legislators. They've got to change the laws. They have to. And there's one other thing they have to do. When the governor was up here, I wanted to stand up and hug him. Because they have to get the political leaders have to get the courage to do their job. That's what they have to do. Get the courage to do their job. The governors, the president's staff, the clemency. Norman and I wrote a piece last week that was published in The Hill about clemency. Margaret Love focuses on it. Her whole life is based around clemency and the pardon process. The legislators have to push the president and the governors to do their job. It's a phenomenal process. It works. And when I was talking to the governor a second ago, he says, you know, one of our biggest problems is fear. I get it. I get it. Everybody's worried. You're going to pardon some guy or some woman for something, and at some point it goes bad. Some point they do something wrong and it comes back to embarrass you. Well, you know what? Take a shot. Because there are so many people in the system today, so many people living around this country today that are convicted felons that could do so much for our country, but they don't have a second chance. The second chance doesn't exist. It does not. Take my word for it. It does not exist. We promote ourselves as a country of democracy. We have the greatest constitution in the world, and I believe that. I fought for it. I've defended it. I've nearly died for it more times than anybody in this room can imagine. I believe it strongly. But at the end of the day, does it work the way it's supposed to work? No. Right now, in the system, there are no second chances. There are none. That's got to change. And the way to make it right and the way to change it is follow this report, follow Margaret Love, follow Norm Reamer, and the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. Follow that report. If the legislators take that report and follow those recommendations, I think this country benefits as a whole, and it's one of the greatest things that could happen, in my mind, in my eyes, ever. Thank you.